Hey, you. Right now, you're probably watching or listening to this on a tiny little device that's like, 3-4 inches diagonal. Wait, maybe 4 or 5 inches diagonal.
Depending how you hold it, yeah.
Little, glass device, glass screen, all that stuff. Did you know that that's actually a demon?
Or a demon portal.
A portal to demons, or a tool, and it communicates in ways that angels and demons do.
And it sucks your soul from your body.
You're about to find that out, actually.
So that's what he was talking about this whole time? I had a tough time. He was smarter than me.
He was speaking. He was on a whole different level.
Yeah. I kept trying to bring it back to my way of thinking, Mario Brother.
We try to get him to do some kind of simple analogies for our little brains.
So this is James Poulos, Claremont Institute. Smart guy. We did quiz him on how smart he is, and he failed miserably. But other than that, he's really smart.
But maybe there's different kinds of intelligence. Like there's smart, and then there's like Babylon Bee podcast smart. He just didn't pass that test.
Yeah.
But he's still a smart guy, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
And he wrote a book called Human Forever, The Digital Politics of Spiritual War. And you can go to humanforever.us to sign up for information and get access to that stuff.
My favorite part of the show is we offered him $100 if we could read a quote from his book and he could guess the page number. It was a nail biter.
There were some really close calls.
Really close calls on there.
On that, yeah.
You got to watch for that.
So this is a great conversation. Big tech. What is government trying to do? Great reset. Where's all this leading?
Yeah,
we're gonna find out.
Let's find out right now.
And it's Poulos.
It is Poulos. Yes.
You nailed it. I'm not gonna lie. I looked up how Larry King pronounced it. So.
Oh man! All right, Larry.
Poulos.
R.I.P.
Larry King.
I figure he's a pro. He knows.
What's that like? What's like talking to Larry King like?
I will. So like before the segment starts, he's like, "So James, have you been to the Broad yet?
The what?
The Broad Museum?
The Broad.
Downtown L.A.?" It's like, "Well, Larry, no, it's not open to the public." It's like, "Oh, I was there last night. It's great."
He's flexing.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, you haven't?
Totally.
You're not on my level yet, are you?
It's a museum that's not open to the public.
Well, it hadn't it hadn't opened yet, so they did their like special like preview for the special people. Yes. For the global elite, and Larry
You're not one of them.
had the run of the place. No, I was not one of them.
That sounds like a museum for like bro culture or something.
Broad.
The Broad.
Come to the Broad Museum.
Broad
do a
out.
couple shots.
They've got like hair gel on display, surfboards.
The faux hawk.
The first axe.
Yeah. Body spray.
That
took me a minute.
Took me a minute.
Oh, I thought you meant the weapon, and that still worked.
That's
is an axe a weapon? I guess it can be.
the first recreational axe.
The first. Yeah, that was the moment humanity shifted when we started using axes recreationally.
That's right. It's all downhill from there.
Yeah.
So, we don't know you. You're just a stranger that walked in off the street.
Just some guy.
But it's good to do an icebreaker. We've learned from, corporate events, business lunches. You do an icebreaker and everybody gets to know each other.
We also Googled how to have a good conversation.
Yeah.
And it said to do an icebreaker.
Icebreaker.
Google.
I still don't know what that
for
means.
these things.
Yeah.
I don't know why the ice has to be broken. Because that seems like you drown if the ice breaks.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
When you
if
really
you're walking
don't
across
know
a lake.
how to do anything, you can rely on Google to tell you what to do.
Such as interviewing people.
Who to be.
Right.
Exactly.
How to live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you could live in any fictional dystopian nightmare, which would you choose? Some examples. Hunger Games, the 90s Mario movie, The Fifth Element, Demolition Man, Running Man, Total Recall, WALL-E.
I mean, The Fifth Element was like a utopia when I watched it.
Utopia?
It felt like, there was like, there was still a sense of like fun and ridiculousness and absurdity.
The Fifth Element and the Mario movie from the 90s feel almost like the same movie to me. They have these the Goombas, they have the same things.
Yeah.
Blade Runner.
French director
Blade Runner.
The Fifth Element, which I think, if you want silliness, you go French.
then
But
you
I think
have,
it's 12 Monkeys was probably my favorite dystopian film.
Okay,
of the
12
90s.
Monkeys.
Yeah.
But you would want to live. The question is, you have to.
You want to live in it.
Well, yeah. I would live above ground in 12 Monkeys. The underground realm was like not a cool place to be. So Bruce Willis is a survivor of, believe it or not, like a pandemic that wipes out like most of the population.
I'm getting Fifth Element Bruce Willis mixed up with Fifth.
Right. So he did these two.
He's bald in that one.
Yeah, he's very bald.
He's not blonde.
That was like the first film where Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt both went from like majority female to majority male fan bases. Both happened in
not Die Hard?
12 Monkeys. I don't know. I mean, he was still doing like moonlighting and like there's this sort of glow.
Die Hard was his first after moonlighting, right? Am I wrong?
I don't know. It's all blur. Nakatomi Tower. I see it all the time, and it's become
there was some
like
romance in Die Hard, so I could see,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right.
But there was no romance.
You're
in
the
12
expert.
Monkeys.
You're the college guy. So
We're not trying to debunk you here.
No offense to Madeline Stowe, but the romance was not the big draw for 12 Monkeys.
I like Brad Pitt in that. He plays a good crazy guy.
He does. He does like the one crossed eye for like the entire.
Good job.
My father's
turnip.
Yeah.
All right.
So have you ever written a book?
Yes. Yes.
Can you explain the synopsis of your book in 60 seconds?
Let's find out. 60 seconds on the clock. Okay. So
now.
Go. Yeah.
So the ruling factions who are trying to dictate our every waking moment of life created these machines, these digital machines, like these things, thinking that the machines, because they created them, would perfect their global rule. And they were very optimistic about it, and everyone was feeling good. But the machines, did not care what the ruling factions wanted to happen. And so ordinary people started to use them to do what they wanted, to say what they had to say, and to live how they wanted to live. And that caused the ruling factions to panic. And we saw that unfold starting in 2016. And so now they're trying to reclaim control of the bots.
10 seconds.
And reclaim control of us through those machines. And we can stop them.
You have 5
seconds.
seconds. Do you want to say anything else?
And we should right now. Otherwise, we'll lose our humanity forever.
Okay, stop. What's the name of your book?
Human Forever.
Yeah. Human Forever.
He didn't say. Did you say the name of your book?
The name of the book is Human Forever. The subtitle of the book is The Spiritual Politics of Digital War.
Okay, and this is a nonfiction book or a dystopian?
I'm sorry. I'm already the digital politics of spiritual war.
It sounded like you were describing like a dystopian fiction. Maybe that's because we were just talking
Terminator?
about dystopian stuff.
A lot of the book is about how utopia and dystopia are both
intermingled.
Well, they're intermingled.
Incestuous.
They are mistakes. They are traps into which we fall. And sometimes people want us to fall into those traps. They don't want us to think about reality. They don't want us to remember reality as we've lived it from generation to generation. They want to break that continuity and insert themselves into our lives that way.
So they don't want history. They want fiction.
Yeah, they want fantasy. They want. Fantasy was what ruled when TV was the most powerful communications technology. What happened on screen was more important than what happened off screen, and it was all about if you can dream it, you can do it, and imagine. There's no heaven, and like all that sort of John Lennon, Walt Disney, George Lucas stuff. It ruled the world, and now it doesn't because we have a more powerful form of communications technology. And so, I think that's one reason why so many people right now are freaking out and confused and questioning their identity and floundering and, filled with resentment. Because the people in charge sort of created this system that they thought would do its bidding, and it's not doing their bidding. And so now they're trying to grab everything at once.
You sound like a crazy conspiracy theorist.
Do I really?
Yeah, like a conservative right-wing extremist.
See, well, the interesting thing is
terrorist.
that we know that these things are not conspiracy theories because they're happening in plain sight. I mean, you can see that there's like a social credit system that is being developed right now, like through the government and through the corporations.
What would you say is the social credit score of me versus Kyle right now at the interview at this point?
Well, you call me a domestic terrorist, so your score is going down.
But wouldn't that make
We need a number,
though?
Because we want to keep score throughout the interview. So
I'm being a good citizen and
give
reporting.
Kyle a number.
So
you have failed to mask the irony in your accusation, and so that makes you more sus.
What is the social? Is it like what's the scale? Is it like
how
negative? Do you earn points?
Is there
Do you
negatives?
go negative?
How far negative can you go? I mean, you can.
You're
be,
the expert.
You're the expert.
You can be incarcerated. It can go to negative infinity, I think.
Okay.
So is that where I'm starting at?
That's the lower bound. Yes. In virtue of being a Babylon Bee person,
Kyle's
you
score
start
is
at
negative infinity.
Can we put it on the screen,
Put that on the
guys?
screen.
Kyle,
What's
negative
my
infinity.
Where's my score at?
Well, you're at negative infinity plus 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm winning.
Okay.
Okay, now we know you're smart. you go to college and stuff and write books, but just to prove you're smart, we need to do a quick quiz just to make sure that you actually are smart. Because we don't want people to think
I better hydrate for
we're lying.
Yeah.
So just quick, we answer these fast. Okay, we don't want to waste much of time. People's time is important. What starts with E and ends with E, but only has one letter in it? Envelope. 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 Come on, it has one letter in it. Okay, Kyle, go ahead.
Oh, man.
3 favorite things about Willard Fillmore.
Go.
The name is obviously number 1. Number 2 is no one remembers his middle name, not even myself. And number 3, he was like a know nothing. Was he a member of the know nothing party? This is how like knowledge destroying Willard Fillmore is. No one remembers his middle name.
It's a trick question.
He's like the lead singer of Foreigner. Like everyone knows he exists, but no one knows his name.
His name is Millard Fillmore.
Yeah, Millard.
Willard Fillmore is a fictional character played by Norm Macdonald.
That's right.
All right.
So I'm losing. My score is going down very quickly.
If I drink, I die. If I eat, I'm fine. What am I?
A chia pet.
Fire.
Is that a yes?
No, fire.
It's fire.
No, fire. That's not like
You're like, fire answer, bro.
Fire answer, bro.
You're not reflecting well on the Claremont Institute at this point. How many 6-inch by 6-inch books can you put in a 2-foot by 2-foot container so that it's not empty anymore?
All of them.
1, because once you put it in there, it's not empty. Owned.
All right, so you talk about...
I hope the rest of the interview is just this.
We talk about spiritual warfare, kind of. So I looked up the most influential spiritual warfare film there is. In 2016, PureFlix film, Heaven's War. Who played Senator Baker?
John Travolta.
Close. Joe Estevez.
That is close.
Had a J at the beginning.
You didn't get any of them right.
That's it.
That's it. Oh, we had another question to quiz on how smart you are. Without reaching for your phone, how much is Bitcoin worth this very moment?
Yeah. Look it up. Who has the number in?
A couple different flavors of Bitcoin. I think that BTC is somewhere at about 400.
Look it up.
Wait.
We need the results.
Maybe high 300s right now.
You got to be specific, man. Come on, you're the expert.
$385.42.
I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
I'm getting sweaty.
Are you looking?
$50,530.61.
Wait.
What?
That's the one I'm looking at.
What does it say?
50,000 BTC is 50,398.
Yeah.
I'm not a mathematician.
You were close. You were off by only 50,000.
It's a rounding error. That's like government math. They're going to mint
that's
$1 trillion.
Closer than I would have got.
So before we move on to some legit questions, what's the current social credit score?
So you are now at negative Google.
Oh,
that's
a number.
Good jump up, right?
Isn't it
Yeah.
Because Google's a real number.
Googleplex.
Yes. The more that you troll me in front of a national audience.
Wait, but I went up from infinity.
Yes, the higher. That's right. You're going from negative infinity.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's good.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
That's a huge jump.
Keep it up.
I don't
Keep
know
it up.
math, but that's huge.
Yeah, I think you're negative half a Google now.
Okay, wow.
Yeah,
So I'm
you're still
you
winning.
getting better
double
than me?
Kyle.
Gosh.
Kyle's going into the gulags, and I don't know, going to the better gulag.
The Google log.
The gulag. All right, well, you told us you can talk about big tech, social credit, cancel culture, the Great Reset, how to stay human, Bitcoin, and your book, Human Forever, The Digital Politics of Spiritual War. So what do you think? Is America's future going to be more like The Matrix or Terminator? What's like the most accurate depiction of the future you think has been shown in fiction?
Yeah, I mean, the Matrix is, of course, an accurate depiction of the present. So I guess by default, it would have to be Terminator.
Okay.
Yeah.
So robots?
Well, like the main difference between Terminator and now is that most of the robots are invisible. Mm-hmm. They fly through the air. They can be everywhere at the same time. When 5G kicks in, it's going to be basically like zero latency between like communications between devices. So, for all of human history up until now, the only kind of entities that could behave that way are like spiritual entities. And we're now in a situation where we've created these things that can behave in ways that only angels and demons were really able to behave in the past. A contributing factor to the insanity that is sweeping the world and our nation.
So you mean like phones are like little ghosts in your pocket?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, most of the robots, most of the machines that people interact with every day are invisible to them.
AI?
That does strike me when I watch a dystopian movie. They'll like fight the robot bad guy, and he looks like a human, and they're like, all I have to do is stab his brain, and I'm like, well, that's not. It's
He's like, let me get my gun real quick.
Yeah.
Westworld, the original.
Yeah.
But the whole advantage of a computer is it's
Yeah.
like this giant network. So
That's right.
demons. So smartphones are demons. Is what
Not
you're saying.
well. No, I mean, this is the good news is that that it's basically just plumbing, basically like invisible plumbing. And so, the spiritual war that needs to be waged is really one that involves remembering that we have souls, and that unlike these disincarnate devices and programs and entities flying through the air almost instantaneously, we are human. We have souls. We are incarnate. And if we forget that, then the insanity will really kick off. And some of the worst people out there are the ones who are, deny that we have a soul, think that we can just merge into this kind of cyborg vivarium living space. And so the technology is not itself. We haven't summoned forth demons. The demons are already there. They're going to continue to be there. And the way of doing battle with them is different than the way of dealing with the fact that we've created these powerful machines. What ordinary people need is a way to reassert human control over our machines, and we can talk about how to do that. So it's really like plumbing, but some forms of technology are not just tools; they're also weapons, and it's time for Americans to lay claim to some of those weapons. We need a Second Amendment for compute. Americans should be able to freely use these machines, develop databases, value and exchange goods and services electronically, all that kind of stuff. And that's not what the ruling factions want us to do. They want to know when we send money back and forth in more than $600 is the current peg. They want to spend as much money as they can think of, which is an infinite number of dollars.
like my credit score.
Yes, that's right. And really, they just want to know what we do, what we think, where we are at all times. That's not America. It's never been America. And to be quite honest, it's never been any regime on Earth, even the most horrible.
What are some examples of demons?
Like individual demons?
Well, you mentioned that the demons of today. What do you
Yeah,
mean by
well,
that? What do you mean? Unpack that.
I mean, I think they're like, so if you go back and look at like the writings of the Desert Fathers, all of these things that we associate with like alien encounters or whatever, when you drill down into those experiences, it turns out that people have like basically an impossible time of describing those encounters in a way other than like a spiritual encounter. And all of the things that we are accustomed to describing in terms of alien phenomena are things that the Desert Fathers recognized: demons and sorcerers. people who are channeling.
Pretend I don't know what the Desert Fathers are.
Is that like
and
the
then
founding
say that.
fathers or something, but of the desert?
Yeah, so this is like early Christianity, and you get a lot of guys who decide to go full ascetic lifestyle. Some of them go live like at the top of pillars.
Like
they
monk
go off
style?
into sort of like individual monks. Some of them formed into groups. Some of them went off on their own. The line one of them used, which I always remember, is one day he finally like climbed down from his pillar so that he could like go down and like mock the world in its vanity. And so these guys had some raw experiences, and I think this is about 200, 300 years after Christ. And they wrote a lot of it down, and they complained about things that many people complain about today. There's like the noonday demon is one demon that they describe, and that's the one where it's like, you sort of wake up, you do your monk stuff, you run through all your routines, and then like it comes around to like lunchtime, and you're just sort of sitting there and you're like questioning and you're feeling bored and time's going by slowly and you're like, what is this even for? And why am I even doing this? And like just all that kind of like self-doubt and like sloth and just like feeling,
I have that demon.
Right.
I'm absolutely sure.
The noonday demon?
I have the noonday
I was
demon.
thinking like when nature calls. But that's
a different.
around the time
Is that a demon?
that I go to the bathroom.
It's demonic.
That's a different. That's Taco Bell. That's what
Taco
that
Bell
demon is
demon.
called.
That's from 3 o'clock a.m. Taco Bell. You get the noonday demon.
That's right. The noonday demon comes early. When you hear that Taco Bell bell, just go dong, like 3 a.m. Yeah.
Fourth meal. So you talk about staying human. Is it possible to be a furry and yet stay human?
Pretend I don't know what a furry is.
It's a person that wants to be an animal. They dress like one.
They're obsessed with their anthropomorphic cartoon animals.
They're aroused by animal people or something. Maybe.
Some of them.
Many of them.
Some
Most of them.
There's many stripes on the flag. Many stripes. So I have a son.
Okay.
Who is in middle school.
Does he dress like a rabbit?
He does not dress like a rabbit.
Fox.
But he does make fun of furries.
He's on a good path.
I think that a lot of the there's this impression that like millennials own online culture still, and this is not true. And so a lot of like younger guys who are like heading into puberty, sort of like entering into their teenage years, they do not look up to the millennials. In fact, they just sort of like flip through TikTok all day, just like laughing at these like damaged and insane millennials. I mean, I think that the whole furry thing is like a massive cope for the fact that we've entered into this cyborg existence, and the people in charge are not really in control, and no one knows what to do about it, and they're looking for answers, not like how do we save the world, like that's obsolete. They want to know how they can save their souls, and if they can't get that information, they're just going to continue to spiral and latch on to the most like obscure or obscene or bizarre answers or pretend answers in the hopes of keeping themselves sort of like off balance or distracted enough that they never have to like sit with the fact that they no longer know who they are and that they need to restore their soul to a position of health and vitality in their life.
As a Christian, God's always there for you, but sometimes things in this life can feel downright overwhelming, and you just need to talk to someone.
That's right. That's why the online counselors at faithfulcounseling.com are there for you. Connect with a professional Christian counselor in a safe and private online environment. It's so convenient.
It is, and it's nice that you can talk to someone who shares your faith and values, people that specialize in depression, stress, anxiety, relationships, crisis of faith issues. You're not going to get that with an atheist counselor. I'll tell you what.
Right, and there's 4 communication modes: text, chat, phone, and video. You can start communication under 24 hours. Desktop, mobile, web, Android. Man, they got everything.
There's financial aid available for those who qualify. It's affordable, faith-based. So check it out. You can go to faithfulcounseling.com/BabylonB and you'll get 10% off your first month at that URL.
Yeah, why not get started today? Go to faithfulcounseling.com/BabylonB.
What was that again? Oh, that's right. It was faithfulcounseling.com/BabylonB.
Simply fill out a questionnaire to help them assess your needs and get matched with a counselor that you're going to love.
10% off. Check it out.
Check it.
Is TikTok good or bad?
Is TikTok good or bad? It's a tool. It's a tool, and it's not that technology is neutral, because it's definitely not. I mean, it has its wants. It wants interoperability. It wants all things to be pluggable into each otherable, if I can use a term of art. Whereas, what human beings want is like incommensurability. Like, I am me and you are you, and nothing is going to cause those two things to sort of mush into this like super blob that consumes us all. We want the integrity of our identity to be intact. And that is at odds with the kind of technology that we've created. Now, the answer isn't like blow everything up, like go back to the Stone Age. Like, that's not happening. So we need to just like sack up, accept that we've created these technologies, and figure out how we can restore our sort of competence and control over them.
Because I kind of feel like the structure and format of a particular social network or program actually can shape the way that you think.
Absolutely.
Like the way that TikTok is just this very
yes,
quick, brief, people don't sit down and watch like a 2-hour comedy movie anymore where you have this developed plot. It's like, I want the joke right now. What's the next one?
This is true.
So that's not neutral to me. Like a tool.
No. But tools aren't neutral either. You know, some tools are weapons. Some tools work on us in ways that we don't understand. I mean, part of the, you know, if you want to go deep into the theory on this, so like Marshall McLuhan was like,
go deep.
All right, Marshall McLuhan was like the big media theorist who was like famous in the '60s for saying the medium is the message, and people are like, right on. More importantly, like into the '70s and '80s, after he stopped being sort of like a celebrity, he did like sort of real theoretical work into like, what is a medium? What is technology? What does it mean for us to build things that are not just like, you know, artifacts, but are extensions of our capabilities? And how do you make sure that we do not sort of jump the track from trying to extend our capabilities into trying to like replace our capabilities? You know, so like supplementing our human capacities, that can be good. Supplanting our human capacities with these machines, maybe not so good. Especially if, you know, we're supplanting our own capacities in an effort to escape responsibilities, our responsibility for the world that we've created and the tools that we fill the world with. So, you know, these digital tools are unlike previous tools. Their organizational form is really like the form of the swarm, and the swarm behaves in ways that, you know, like an arsenal of rifles does not behave like a swarm. A printing press does not behave like a swarm. And it's the swarmishness of digital technology that is very at odds with our humanity and human organization. And it creates, you know, new challenges for us to figure out how we can control that without, you know, turning the tools against ourselves. So the formative effect of technologies, you know, we created technologies that are taking on the character of environments onto themselves. And so you can go back through history and see how, like, you know, the printing press didn't just result in like books and like more content. It created this kind of like psychological and social environment that altered the way that we thought about everything from like rights to, you know, justice. Mm-hmm. And so every time there's like one of those big transformations in the media environment, it shapes us in ways that we can't necessarily, you know, predict or understand without, you know, really doing some serious, thoughtful investigation. And that's, you know, that's what went wrong with like our ruling class or elites or whatever you want to call them, is they were working on globalization. The Cold War was over. The United States was the sole superpower. Everything, you know, we were going to connect the world together, and everyone's going to hold hands, and everyone's going to be friends with each other, sort of, or something. And it's going to be great, you guys. And, you know, here, all you have to do is you have to just take one of these things, and John Lennon's world is just going to come streaming out of our machines, and we're all going to live happily ever after. And of course, that's not what happened, because they didn't understand the nature of this technology. They were mapping this sort of, you know, their fantasies really onto the tools that they had created, and they thought that because they created these tools and they thought they controlled these tools, that the tools would sort of bring their fantasies to life, and that's not what happened.
You could go back in time to 2004. Do you kill Mark Zuckerberg?
I don't think that Mark Zuckerberg is the problem. I mean, it's the form of the technology and the formative effect of the technologies that's the issue. I mean, Facebook gets beaten up on for a lot of reasons, and I mean, in some ways, it's just laughable. Like, this is kind of a hybrid thing. It's like kind of television, but it's kind of digital, and I think it's like trying to fit two media together in a way that is fundamentally unstable. The thing for me about Facebook is, like, you get rid of Facebook and like what comes next, right? And, you know, the people in charge who think they're in charge want Fedbook to be next. Mm-hmm. They don't want to get rid of Facebook so that everyone can like live more productive human lives in the way that they want to, with like their friends and like their, you know, their community and like their fellow churchgoers or whatever. They want to concentrate things still further. They want to have more control over what you can say and think, and, you know, and they want to get people to accept a lower standard of living and lower rates of childbirth and lower rates of transportation, a smaller footprint. You know, they want to shrink you down, put you in the pod, and wean you off of money. They don't want you to be productive. They don't want you to hold assets. They don't want you to accumulate wealth and save it and pass it on to your future generations, to your own progeny. They want you to farm points in their social credit system. You know, they want government by Roblox, and unless we do something about it, it's coming.
Eat bugs and use the metric system. That's what they want.
And drink decaf.
Yeah, and drink decaf coffee.
Yeah.
Take your food pill in your jumpsuit.
Soy calf.
It's not good.
This may be related. In a recent article, you called Animal Crossing a game of pacification and dehumanization. Why is Animal Crossing an evil game?
What is Animal Crossing?
My kids like Animal Crossing.
Explain the game.
So,
The animals
well,
cross?
animals,
You cross animals out
it's
based
a
on
virtual
social credit scores?
Not quite. It's a virtual world.
Okay. Well, it's a game, yeah.
It's a little town.
It's a little town.
It's not a real one.
Populated with like little animal cartoon characters.
They're basically furries.
Okay. What, they're people?
No.
They are
But they look like
they are hominid animal cartoon characters.
Anthropomorphized?
Yes. That's right. So they walk on two legs and they do things like, hoe their garden, like pitch their tent and cook things.
Are there animals that do this?
Yes.
Okay.
And they have
a little animal
They have
village.
like big heads and like little,
I was thinking
little
like
bodies.
Frogger, but there's also rabbits and skunks.
No, the crossing
You
is like
wish.
the town, like Animal Crossing.
No, you can't run any animals over in Animal
Okay.
Crossing.
Sad.
And so it's sort of like this self-contained, vivarium that you can create your little. Have you seen that film, Vivarium?
No, it feels like a word you need to whisper.
We talked about
mysteriously.
this film on Chandler mentioned it, I think, or somebody mentioned it.
Yeah,
That's the one with the suburbs, right?
toned
yeah,
out.
yeah.
I think Chandler mentioned it.
Okay.
Anyway, so the big pitch of Animal Crossing is that this is a simpler life where like nothing bad happens and you don't need to be sad anymore because you hang out with your little animal friends and you pretend that you live in the village with little animal people.
Okay.
That's it. That's it.
I just farm and stuff.
You do stuff. You get like
Do they eat eggs?
fake prizes, and do they eat eggs?
I don't know. They're chickens. It's weirder to eat eggs if your friend makes the eggs and you can talk to them, right? Isn't that weirder?
I mean, I've always found it strange when
Hey, Joe.
like food service companies or restaurants like they anthropomorphize the product and
Right.
they make it smile.
The cow, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the
like,
pig,
Eat
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Yum yum.
Bacon.
Right.
Well, ChickfilA did it right with the cows.
Yeah.
Because they don't serve.
That's right. They hacked it. They hacked the mainframe.
They hacked the system.
So like Animal Crossing really took off during the pandemic because a lot of people were like, I would not have maintained my mental sanity without the ability to disappear into Animal Crossing.
Yeah, it did like have this
Within that
insane
world.
explosion of growth
Really?
in sales
Right.
during the pandemic.
And I'm like, are you sure that you maintained your mental health?
So you're just like living like an Amish community, but you're animals? Is that? I'm still trying to figure it out. Okay.
I think that's a
And is
except
that
there's
like-
like no at least for
there's
now
no
there's
religious-
no sexual reproduction. And I don't
Oh.
think there's any religion either.
Because isn't that often the utopia of? I feel like this is in a lot of movies, especially horror. They try to make horror films where nobody ever asks, "Is there a god?" or like they never even think about
Absolutely.
faith, but they're like dealing with like these demonic powers.
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
Isn't that the fantasy of modern times? Like to talk spiritual, but then pretend like there is no spiritual at the same time. To have both. Isn't that-
Yeah, it's
am I on the
pretending, it's creating an
track here?
environment where there appears to be no religion, but in fact, anything with this degree of sophistication and immersion does have a theological sensibility and sort of structure to it. And it's just,
So that's a boy,
Yeah, so
quote unquote.
So the person's like
or
a
a them.
yeah, you're
It
a
is-
human,
it is
and
an
everybody
it.
in the town
He's
is
just
an
walking
animal.
around an orange field right now.
Yes.
Everybody in the town is an animal.
This is a
cyborg.
YouTube video, and there are over 7 million views on this guy.
Oh yeah,
a kid walking
Animal
around
Crossing
an
is
orange
big, dude. Animal
orchard.
Crossing is big, and you can talk to this little like
talking to a raccoon.
thing, and then there's like someone wearing a bunny suit, but who isn't a bunny.
So they are furries.
Well, maybe some of them. So right, I mean, like,
So is
So
there a
awesome.
level I can play Animal Crossing and not be demon possessed?
I mean, I think
Like,
that
can
if
you play it for like 5 minutes a day? And
I
not
think
be,
that if you went in after a period of prayer and fasting with like a gallon, one of those like 75 hard gallon jugs of holy water, you could probably be fine.
Is it like
for a while, but how long? That's a question for science.
Is it like Roblox? Is like are the other animals people from?
you can like visit each other's towns. And
So is there other people on there that you're talking to? Is it-
not typically, but yeah,
Oh.
there's like online features.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, like Squid Game, right? Can we talk about Squid Game? This is like another sort of show where there's like no God at all,
Right.
and like that's the real horror of the show, and it's the one element that goes totally unspoken. I mean, Vivarium is another one where it's like the nightmarishness of the scenario as it's presented is like bad enough as it is, but the reason why it is that bad is because God is totally missing from the world that it portrays. And still worse, like even the characters who are like suffering and being tortured and dying have no concept of God themselves that's being presented. This is mind control, and it's bad.
Using only The characters and setting from the Mario Brothers. Can you explain to us what the Great Reset is?
I will try. Okay, so
Mushroom Kingdom.
right. So if Bowser and Princess Peach were the same character, like a sort of like gender ambiguous overlord,
Turtle Dragon.
right? Who consolidated all of the assets and all of the coins, all of the like question mark boxes, all of the coins,
In one
just
giant
sort of like
cube.
accumulated all of those resources, and then started redesigning all of the levels in all of the worlds according to a sort of master plan, so that Mario and Luigi and Toad and I guess Toadette and friends. Right? That's kind of how they.
Oh no,
No, Peach is now Bowser.
Luigi.
So that all of those former heroes and heroines became basically Animal Crossing characters.
Oh wait, we're going back to Animal.
We're going back to
You
Animal
jumped
Crossing.
out of
You
Mario.
left the world there.
Well, but
You-
that's
you
that's
found a
how
warp
I'm right.
tube
Yes, I
out
found
of
a
the
warp tube.
game.
Not to just make them all like Koopas or something?
No, because
Or Koopas.
yeah, I mean the Koopas are like the enforcers, like the street enforcers.
Oh, so
And
they don't want them going through the levels and getting coins.
no.
They want them just walking around a little.
They don't want them to have like memories of like progressing through a journey that has a
to beat
completion
Bowser
or a
in
goal.
World 9 or whatever.
Right.
Wait, so
No.
who are who's they in this scenario? Who's
Yeah,
in the
what's
real
you
world?
keep saying they and you go they.
Who wants to
that?
do this Bowser
Yeah.
giant cube grab level changing?
Well, so like, look at who presents themselves as being in charge right now. Like that
Biden.
class of folks. In government, in corporations, this is not
People
like
with all the answers,
This
like-
is not like a figment of someone's like feverish imagination. Like they go
Right.
on TV every day and they get on the internet every day and they stick like warning stickers on content that they don't like. It's just happening in plain sight. And this is without even talking about like the World Economic Forum and like all these clowns. I mean, they're out there and they have a lot of money sloshing around. All those like private foundations, like all these NGOs. They pumped so much money into the system by just like spinning it out of thin air, and they're using it to terraform our lives. The Mario analogy can only take us so far, but the thing that amazes me about Mario is to this very day, like in the Mario games, they're still bad guys, and you can still kill them in order to win.
It's true.
And that is being like crushed out of the experience of gaming right now, I would say.
No more killing in game, and there's still a lot of killing though.
There's still a lot of killing, but like if you look at
Except for Animal Crossing.
the pressure that is being applied, like they're trying to. I mean, even Facebook, like we're going to be a Metaverse company. You're
that
gonna.
mean?
It means that you can like have virtual business meetings and you can sit at a virtual conference table and look like a character from Animal
And
Crossing.
they bought Oculus, so now you can do it
Oh
all in
yeah,
VR.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's going to be
that's
weird.
right.
You go to a business meeting and you look like a dragon fairy.
Yeah, so
Friends.
this is a world where there's no place for God. This is a world where, let's be frank, there's no place for testosterone. There's no place for sort of like physical strength and vitality. And that is what the reset is designed to accomplish. Oh crap, we built this system, it's falling apart, our machines are disobeying us, we need to just round it all up and reprogram it and make sure that we can pacify and domesticate and defang and control the people as much as we want to control the machines. That's the project.
So don't play Animal Crossing.
Yeah. All right, I think we're ready to play a little game with you here. We have read your book, every page. We will read a quote from your book. For each quote, tell us from memory the exact page number that it's on. Or answer, that's not from my book, that's from a trashy romance novel. For each one you answer correctly, you get $100.
Oh, that's very generous.
Yeah. All right, you ready?
That means I'm going to get them all wrong, right?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Here we go.
Quote, we all became cyborgs. Unquote.
That's page 33.
18.
Close.
Sorry, it was close.
That was pretty close. Year zero is impossible unless the continuous patrilineal memory of the first generation and its fathers is broken up and zeroed out.
See, now I feel like that's actually page 30.
You can also kind of, if you want to unpack anything you're saying here,
feel free. Because what the heck are you talking about?
Sure.
But also page number.
That was page 28, by the way.
28. So close.
He didn't even guess.
He did.
I did. I guessed 33 again.
Oh,
and
you
I was
did?
closer this time.
Okay.
Next
Wow,
one,
way
next
closer.
one's going to be 32. Year zero. I mean, this goes back to like the end of World War II when Nazi Germany was defeated.
Hitler killed himself.
And Hitler killed himself, and the bunker, and everyone's just like chewing cyanide capsules, and Berlin was just flattened. And so, like,
Wild times.
what do you do with Germany at that point? And so the locals took to calling May 45 like year zero. It's just complete, total reset. Like your religion is toast, your political ideology is toast, your cities, your houses, everything's just been sort of bombed into like a flat zone.
Right.
And if you go read like Umberto Eco is one of these guys who was writing about this. It's sort of like, what is fascism? There are all these people trying to figure out like what just happened, with fascism. And so a lot of the theorization that spun out of that time and is unfortunately being continued today in lesser minds with bigger megaphones. They say like, well, there's this thing called the authoritarian personality. And so, like, if you're too far to the right, that's a mental disorder. And things that are characteristic of this mental disorder is, appreciating things like fathers and, like heroes who founded your civilization or your culture.
Wait, that's fascism?
Oh, yeah. This is, it's the root of fascism.
Way off.
Yeah, people who want to continue the passage of memory and narrative from like father to son over generations. Like this is
Also known as patrilineal memory.
exactly. This is the seedbed of fascism. They really do, they really do think this way. And in the same way that racism is being used to describe anything that someone wants to attack, that's happening.
You're kind of saying they
fascism
have to
too.
erase like our connection to history in order to make the Great Reset happen.
Yes, so that individuals just see themselves as these, sort of floating through space in need of being organized into a swarm.
So I think a rational person usually would think all the history we have teaches us what not to do and how to learn and how to, use all that wisdom from all that time. This worldview would be naturally we have the ability to be good and you just get rid of all that baggage, forget it. If we can just start from nothing, that's better.
Yeah, we can perfect humanity by creating the perfect plan, and the perfect plan is going to arise from having, really from seeing yourself as a god.
It's weird to think that you could create the perfect plan if only you could just erase your brain.
Yeah,
It seems like the main thing you'd need is a brain.
Well, if you create machines that are so smart that we don't even understand how they work, then maybe we could just
They'll do it.
Yeah. What could go wrong?
All right, next quote. Beatrice was on him like a piranha on a corn dog.
Oh man, that's the last line of the book.
No, actually, this is from an actual quote from a trashy romance novel. Oh. Man, you could have got $100.
They were so
right
similar.
There. That was almost $100. Easy hundo.
All right.
Okay, this one's a mouthful. Go, Kyle.
With electric speed and shocking intensity, the queer became systematized, ideologized into queerness, moving relentlessly from the concrete in particular to the abstract and absolute, its center of energy whipping in arcs of sparks from the gay man to the lesbian to the bisexual woman, and by way of the pansexual to the ultimate forerunner of sexuality as a tool of self-transcending Gnostic power, the transsexual and transgender. Beyond the trans, none can be more truly ethereal, as we all know, than the transhuman. The trans person is the bearer of the total light of post-human cosmic consciousness, and it is for this reason that despite their vanishingly small numbers in world population, the trans command a vast and increasing share of communicative and commercial world consciousness.
Page 201.
Actually, yeah, that was from a trashy romance novel.
Trashy romance novel.
Man, I knew I was
gonna. You were actually really close. 176 or 177 would have got you that one.
Oh man,
You're
so close.
Double chance to get that one right.
So in the event that people want to know what that means, what's going to get us from
the most social points you get from being trans?
What's going to get us from this all too human condition that we're in right now to realizing this fantasy land where everyone lives in perfect harmony and all of our responsibilities have been assigned to this sort of machine complex, this Borg that we can trust to prevent the dirty, the sinful humans from screwing up, right? Well, and that is exiting humanity. That is what we need to do in that schema. Human beings, we can't trust them. They have bad opinions. They have bad ideas. They're dangerous. They're violent. They're patriarchal. They're racist. They're terrible. Yeah. So what do we do? Well, obviously humanity is the problem. We need to leave our humanity behind. We need to process everyone through a sort of system that causes them to recognize that their humanity is what's wrong with us. Okay. And so how do you sort of begin that process? And it's like, well, what are the things that we need to knock down in order to escape from our natural God-given humanity? And one of the, first thing on the list is the most fundamental distinction between man and woman. If you can break that, then people start, we can become anything. We can do anything. We can think ourselves into being whatever we want to be. We can be like gods. And so, just the speed with which we've seen like the sort of, gay rights movement get co-opted and turned into this other thing, and they keep adding stripes to the flag, and it keeps getting more and more bizarre. Even to the point where lesbians are now too many of us are turning trans. Like, this is bad. The whole point is to just women with women and we don't need to go to this other place. And
they're now conservative.
Well, they're now trans exclusionary, radical reactionary feminists. Yes, right. They are TERFs. And so why is this social contagion of transsexualism becoming the thing that has risen to the top of the stack in terms of attention, in terms of prestige, in terms of the push that it's getting from officialdom? Well, it seems to me pretty obvious that this is because it is really step one. It's founding event for a regime that is trying to go into a full transhumanist realm, because we got to break the humanity in order for the spark within to
guy wants to be a girl,
merge with the machines.
Guy wants to be a girl. Next thing you know, we're all getting robot implants in our face.
Yes.
Okay. I understand.
Good.
But especially at the elite level, the trajectory of American political theology led inexorably away from the cornerstone of faith's mystery that held the division in place, Jesus Christ.
Trashy romance novel.
Close.
Do you want a second guess?
Not a trashy romance novel.
Correct. Got a page number for me?
I really
want him to get one.
Can you repeat the question?
But especially at the elite level, the trajectory of American political theology led inexorably away from the cornerstone of faith's mystery that held the division in place, Jesus Christ.
This is a tough one. I think that might be the first mention of Jesus in the book.
I did a search.
Yeah.
I did read the whole thing.
I just wanted you to say inexorably again.
Yeah. Inexorably. I did a lot better.
You showed me. That's right. 80.
What I did is I did a great reset of my mind, and then I said it correctly after I took all the baggage of the history away of how to not talk right.
You are on the path to being a genderless god.
Yes.
I salute you.
See the genderless Ethan guy in a robe.
Yes. Bowser, Princess Bowser.
68.
Sad. You're getting farther
almost
away.
half right. 112.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Then he kissed her like a butterfly kisses the windshield of a Porsche on the Autobahn.
This is violence.
So he kissed her like this.
This is emotional violence.
His face exploded against hers, and there was nothing left.
It's like the worship song with the sloppy wet kiss, or the what is the other one? Unforeseen kiss, like the guy jumping out of a bush and smashing into your face with his lips.
Unforeseen kiss is the creepiest
It's
kind
even
of kiss.
worse than a sloppy kiss.
I saw a video of a bee inseminating a queen bee in mid-flight, and in fact,
you watching?
Well, here's the point of the story is the force of that encounter causes the male bee to lose his member and to fall out of the sky dead.
Wow.
Yeah. So the swarm imposes its costs on the men, in the system. That was what I took away from that. Trashy romance novel. Give me that $100.
Oh, he got it. Okay, he's got $100. Put it on the screen. $100. Ching. Okay, finally, announcing to their shocked ruling factions the arrival of the digital catastrophe, Trump voters use the internet along with the ballot box to begin what their rulers instantly and incessantly propagandized, despite incalculable risk to their credibility, as an insurrectionary infowar against our democracy. That is, against their regime.
That's pretty early in the book, I think. That's got to be like, I'm not going to say page 33, but I might say like more like a page. It's 159. 153. 153.
very close.
Going the wrong way.
253.
You're so close at 159.
You were very close. 162.
You get 3 guesses after. Oh,
Sorry.
dang it.
You get no more guesses.
I almost gave you money.
Your social credit score is plummeted.
Mine?
Yes,
I was
just-
trying to help you.
Yeah, well, it didn't work.
Oh, yeah, where are we at? Can we get a social credit
Social
score?
credit score update.
Update? Yep.
You've risen to one point.
That's a lot.
Is that
a
like where you
Google-
don't get executed?
That's
like
you will be eaten last if you are in the black.
I
All right.
tried so hard to help this man.
wait, what is he at?
It's because I showed that I have a soul.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so that's negative 33. Negative 33.
We've both risen exponentially.
Yes.
Oh, we're doing well.
You're doing
Good job,
doing
Ethan.
well. But remember, you could be zeroed out at any time.
They caused our epistemological crisis. They hacked our brains.
Page 10.
Oh, yeah, so close. Oh, I was on the edge of my seat. 11.
Oh, 11. Man.
I knew I should have paginated the book differently.
Paginated.
Wow.
All right, and finally, last
Let me
quote.
just, if I may.
Okay, please, you may.
So that's our.
Oh yeah, you
our,
didn't explain that whole Trump voter thing too.
Yeah. we
Yeah.
need to hear
So this is like the main example of like when the people in charge are like, what? So
Yeah.
the
Keanu
MIT
Reeves.
the MIT Technological Review put out as its first issue after Barack Obama's reelection. It had Bono's face like filling the entire cover, and the I know, and the title in like all caps was "How Big Data Will Save Politics." And it was like, this is amazing. Like, we will use technology to understand how everyone's going to vote and how to convince them to do what we want. And that's what's going to bring us together as a nation and as a world. And then a short 4 years later,
Kind of went the other way on that one.
kind of went the other way. And a lot of Americans were like, well, I'm going to use the internet to have my own opinions and to talk to my friends and my neighbors. And, you know, maybe we're all going to conclude that the people in charge don't know what they're doing and don't have our interests at heart and are actually trying to like squeeze us out of our way of life and impose a new one on us. And so maybe we'll vote for this other guy. And, you know, and you watched the New York Times prediction needle go from, it was 99.999% certain that Hillary Clinton would be elected. And, you know, over the space of about 45 minutes, and it crashed and broke off and went to negative infinity, and we got Trump. That was like,
It went all the way down to Kyle's initial level.
yes, that was the panic moment for the ruling factions, because there's more than one, so I describe them as factions. And, you know, ruling class, little Marxist people get confused. I want to keep their eye on the ball.
Okay.
Sometimes I go pull up that thing that they posted like on election day where it showed Clinton at 98% and Trump at 1.8%. Just
Just to watch.
to look at it.
A magic.
Like, I mean, isn't that
moment.
the greatest? Like
A memory.
like from Huffington Post on the day of the election.
I'm surprised that is still
Like that hasn't been
still something
memory
that
hold
comes
yet?
up on a Google search.
yeah.
So what do you get? You get the MIT Technological Review instead having a cover that's like, how big data is destroying our democracy,
Right.
just because the other guy won. And so Barack Obama finally trotted out and does an interview with Jeffrey Goldberg, the Jabba the Hutt of the Atlantic. And
not Goldblum.
Right. And Barack Obama says, like, the internet has created, I'm paraphrasing, an epistemological crisis in America. We don't know what we know anymore because people are just on the internet sort of like saying things to each other. And like,
but they're not listening
they can't
to
do
the-
that. They have opinions that are wrong, and now there's chaos, and you'd re-elect Donald Trump and bring the world to an end. Now, to a degree, he's right that digital technology started to pose these questions about like, can you really trust the people in charge? How much of what you see on television or on screen is propaganda? How much of what is presented to you as fact is actually just someone, spin doctors or ad people or Hollywood or whoever just like slinging you what they want you to believe. So yes, all those kinds of
spin
questions.
doctors were such a big deal in all this.
They fell off in the late 90s, but
Yeah.
a big resurgence.
If you want to call me baby,
Just go ahead now.
hey, yeah, that's pretty good.
Boop-a-doop.
Should do a little barbershop.
Marry him or marry me. I'm the man to come a chumma. Can't you
I
see?
follow that guy on Twitter. He
Chicken
posts a lot
in
of
the
cat
moonlight.
memes.
Oh, yeah.
Seems like a nice guy.
I ain't
Time
got
is
no
it?
future or family tree. It's a fable. About
Fourth
two,
Fable,
yeah.
two princes.
I know what a prince lover ought to be.
One prince is actually working at Taco Bell, and the
Yeah.
other one is a real prince.
A real prince.
Yeah,
He doesn't know about real life.
that's right.
It's not late.
So to a degree, yes, but what really happened was an ontological crisis.
That is the dumbest song.
A crisis not of what we know, but of who we are. And that came about by smart and wealthy people creating technologies that they did not understand and thought that they did understand. And now it has thrown us into a situation where we have to rediscover, remember, retrieve our understanding and our memory of what it is to be human, soul and all.
We have one more quote.
You ready for the last quote?
I'm ready.
Is it me or you?
You.
It's me. Okay. With his broad shoulders and slim waist, he was a yield sign. Yet she could not. She couldn't yield.
This is a real quote from a real book.
That's apparently from a romance novel. The internet says.
That's well.
It could
You
just be
just
that.
gave him the answer.
If it's on the
mindless.
internet, it must be
Oh,
true.
oops, yeah.
Ha ha! I got
all
you.
right, free
Trashy romance
You got a free $100. All right.
So
you got $200.
$200.
All right. So he gets $200 worth of Babylon Bee advertising.
Yeah, it's not cash. It is advertising.
So that's,
so $200 buys you about a 30
is it
second
like a
ad
banner
slot,
ad?
30-second ad slot
30-second ad spot on our
on
podcast,
the podcast.
Great.
which means that we are going to now promote your book
Ready?
for 30 seconds.
Let me know when we should start.
Hey, Babylon Bee fans and subscribers, listeners, and
man.
viewers, we have an awesome
book.
sponsor for you for the podcast today. This is James Poulos' book, which is called
Human. How to be
no, it's called
human forever. The digital
Human
politics
Forever.
of spiritual war. This thing is like it's almost like
so
skin
good.
cream. It makes me glow. My wife, after I read it, she looked at me and she went, who did I marry? This is a whole new man." And then we just made out like a butterfly crashing to a Porsche on the Autobahn.
There's no trashy romance quotes in it. It's like an amazing book. You can get it now.
We had to get
you can go
reconstructive
to
surgery.
humanforever.us and enter your email to be the first to know when the NFT goes
think time's
live
up.
and when the book is on sale.
We'll give him some free cash. That's fine.
He owes us like $100 now.
Yeah. So pick it up. Human Forever, the digital positive spiritual war. It's a scorching, searching guide to saving our souls from the digital apocalypse. Check it
Right.
out.
It is like the protein shake of books.
Okay.
I bought this protein shake stuff the other day, and it said greatest tasting protein shake in the universe on the.
the
That's a
universe?
very bold statement.
You don't even know if there's other civilizations out there that have protein.
They've done the
evaluated
research. They've
by
looked
the
into
Food
it.
and Drug Administration.
People on the planets in Alpha Centauri,
J. Rob.
they're good at protein shakes. So we're going to move into our subscriber lounge now, where James Poulos is going to tell us what he really thinks.
What's the
about
final
big tech.
score though? The social credit score. For
Oh
me
yeah,
and
we need a
Kyle.
final
score.
for both of us.
Well, I'm going to have to check my device here to be absolutely sure. Yeah.
You have an app for that?
I do. Yeah.
Social credit.
You like scan us with?
Well, there's good news and bad news. And the good news and the bad news is that you've both finished at 0.
Okay.
Great reset, baby.
Zero's probably not terrible.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Your destiny.
Now we're ready to be soulless mind people.
Eating
animals.
our pill, using the metric
Trans
system in our jumpsuit.
gods.
See? You understand.
with
welcome
robot stuff in our
to
face.
the new regime.
Playing Animal Crossing in our pod forever.
In the future, you'll be zeros and you'll be happy.
And we will be eating bugs. And it sounds good.
Protein.
Yes.
Well, speaking of zeros, our time is up here.
We're moving on to the subscriber.
Subscriber Lounge, you want to join us at that join button? Because we got the 10 questions, and we're going to talk about other stuff.
If you're on YouTube, mash that join button. Or go to babylonb.com/plans, become a subscriber, and you too can get your credit score.
Where's my join button?
You have to go to YouTube.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah. Peace.
Coming up next for Babylon Bee subscribers.
I do have a Keanu Reeves story. So I was at the
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, good for civilization or destroying Western civilization?
Oh man, Bill Maher farted one time or something like that.
I do have one nice thing to say about it, which is
Enjoying this hard-hitting interview? Become a Babylon Bee subscriber to hear the rest of this conversation. Go to babylonbee.com/plans for full-length, ad-free podcasts. Kyle and Ethan would like to thank Seth Dillon for paying the bills, Adam Ford for creating their job, the other writers for tirelessly pitching headlines, the subscribers, and you, the listener. Until next time, this is Dave D'Andrea, the voice of the Babylon Bee.